1,000 years ago, the demon beasts were ruled by the dragon clan, with the most powerful among them known as the demon god. The demon god, driven by overwhelming ambition, wreaked havoc across the land, leading an army of magical beasts to sweep through the human world. The demon god's greed knew no bounds, aiming to engulf every corner of the world in endless darkness. At that dire moment, humanity faced near destruction. However, humanity's hidden potential was unleashed, and in a wave of spiritual awakening, some exceptional individuals developed the ability to control demon beasts. These individuals came to be known as beast tamers. One day, a lady and her beast appeared, attacking a rampaging demon dragon. Reports indicated that the demon beast over Qingfeng City's northern residential area had been struck. The injured beast crashed into the residential district, prompting urgent calls for emergency medical assistance. Our protagonist, Xiao Xingyu, a third-year student in Class 1 at Xianghan High School, was frozen with fear as he witnessed the demon dragon glaring at him through the remains of his destroyed wall. The dragon's blood splattered everywhere, horrifying him even further. Amid the chaos, he heard a voice reciting an incantation. At the beginning of chaos, when heaven and earth had yet to be divided, she forged a pact with her heart's blood. Summoning spirits from the void, with blood as her oath and words as her bond, they shall heed her command. The voice then commanded her beast to attack. The flame lion unleashed a powerful strike that instantly killed the demon dragon. Shortly after, reports confirmed that there were no casualties among the survivors. Su Ruyan, the headmaster of Qinglong Academy, accompanied by her lion beast, approached Xiao Xingyu to apologize for the unnecessary trouble. She handed him a Qinglong Academy card and assured him that the academy would handle the aftermath and compensate for the damage to his home. He accepted the card, and Ruyan, along with her team and their beasts, departed swiftly. In Xiao Xingyu's world, everyone dreamed of becoming a beast tamer. He, too, longed to achieve this dream, but he couldn't afford to buy a beast. Without one, he couldn't take the National Beast Tamer exam. And without passing the exam, he couldn't protect anyone. Suddenly, a thin dog appeared before him, staring at him intently. The dog began licking his face repeatedly, causing him to shout in confusion, asking if it had followed the dragon into his home. He wondered aloud what kind of start this was, if the dog was a heavenly husky, and whether it could possibly be a beast companion. Then, he remembered reading in his textbooks about a creature called the Gale Hound. Known for its weak bloodline, the Gale Hound didn't require much spiritual power to bond with. Realizing this, Xiao Xingyu guessed he might be able to care for it. Excitement bubbled within him as he thought he could now become a beast tamer. Yet doubt crept in. There were only 3 days left until the National Beast Tamer exam. He worried he wouldn't be ready in time. Still, he lifted the Gale Hound excitedly and began explaining the process of spirit awakening to his newfound companion. The next day, in Qingfeng City, Xiao Xingyu arrived at the Beast Tamer store. He hesitated outside, thinking that perhaps he should give the Gale Hound to someone who could afford to raise it. In his mind, there was no future for the hound if it stayed with him. Suddenly, the store owner opened the door and loudly demanded to know why he was loitering outside so early. Xingyu asked the owner if he wanted the beast, but the man rudely dismissed him, declaring that a Gale Hound was an inferior bloodline with no evolutionary path. He scoffed that no one would be foolish enough to buy such a creature and shouted at Xingyu to leave. The Gale Hound whimpered in fear, pressing against Xingyu's chest for protection. Frustrated, Xingyu yelled back, saying the owner could have just declined politely without being so rude. As he turned to leave, a screen suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. It displayed details about the Gale Hound. Level, Initial Stage, Tier 1. Loyalty, 59. Bloodline, Inferior. Hidden Bloodline, Hell Bloodline. Talent, none. Hidden talent, Hellfire. Evolution path, none. Hidden evolution path, Gale Hound Hell Gale Wolf Hell Nether Wolf Divine Inferno Yama Wolf. Xingyu was stunned. He questioned whether he was seeing things. Rubbing his eyes to ensure he wasn't dreaming, he reopened them to find the screen still there. Shocked, he exclaimed about the hidden evolution path, catching the attention of the store owner, who shouted back that Gale Hounds had no evolution path and told him to leave again. Realizing that the owner couldn't see the screen, Xingyu wondered if he was the only one who could. Nearby, Suji, a third-year student in Class 1 at Xianghan High School, and the son of Qingfeng City's wealthiest man, noticed Xingyu. He recognized him as the student who wasn't planning to take the national exam because he didn't have a beast. Approaching, Ji mockingly asked if Xingyu had managed to get himself a beast. Xingyu quickly pulled the Gale Hound close and shouted for Ji to mind his own business. Seeing the Gale Hound, Ji smirked and taunted him, saying it was clear he hadn't intended to take the exam, just as Lena had predicted. Laughing, Ji declared that Xingyu wouldn't pass even if he tried. confused, Xingyu asked what he meant by Lina. Ji mockingly revealed that Jiang Lina, Xingyu's ex-girlfriend, had been with him for a while now. At that moment, Jiang Lina appeared, calling out to Ji and complaining that she couldn't find him earlier. Ji teasingly replied that he had run into an old friend and stopped to say hello. Lina initially seemed surprised to see Xingyu but soon burst into laughter. She arrogantly told Ji to stop joking, adding that she hadn't been with Xingyu for a long time. Mocking him, she wondered aloud why she should care if a loser like him saw her with someone rich. Scoffing at the sight of the Gale Hound, she called it pathetic. Xingyu shouted at Lina not to forget how he had helped her when she was struggling. He told her to enjoy her life with her rich boyfriend but reminded her that he was the one who dumped her. Angered, Ji threatened to crush Xingyu in the national exam for speaking that way, but Xingyu simply stuck his tongue out at them and walked away. Lina urged Ji to ignore him, calling Xingyu a loser with a worthless Gale Hound. She smugly remarked that she should have dumped him much sooner. Xingyu resisted the urge to argue further, deciding to let his actions prove them wrong. 3 days later, at Zilin Square, the host announced the start of the National Advanced Beast Taming exam. Participants were instructed to enter the venue, and the exam officially began. The students were shocked to see Xingyu among the participants, whispering among themselves. They wondered why someone like him, who didn't even own a beast 3 days ago, would bother taking the exam. One student mentioned that Xingyu had only signed up recently and didn't have the money to buy a beast. Another added that he had registered for Qinglong Academy, the most prestigious of the 4 major academies, which made his participation even more surprising. Amid the mocking and disbelief, Xingyu stood silently in front of the registration meter, ignoring the sneers and whispers around him. Xiao Xingyu greeted the teacher sitting behind the table and stated that he was there for the exam. Chen Qinian, an admissions teacher from Qinglong Academy in the Qingfeng district, confirmed his name and asked if he was Xiao Xingyu. Xingyu confidently affirmed that he was there to take the exam. Qinian noted that he was the only student from Qingfeng district applying to Qinglong Academy, and observed him with curiosity. Before the exam could begin, Suji approached, mocking Xingyu for attempting something he believed was beyond his ability. He pointed out that over the past 5 years, only 8 students from Qingfeng City had dared to apply to Qinglong Academy, and none of them had succeeded. Ji ridiculed Xingyu further, sarcastically questioning if he really thought he could pass where others had failed. He added that if Xingyu managed to get in, he would drop to his knees and call him dad. Xingyu, remaining calm, responded with a confident remark, prompting Ji to crumple the paper he was holding in anger. Ignoring him, Xingyu turned to Qinian and stated that he was ready to begin the test. Qinian addressed him seriously, explaining that the entrance exam for Qinglong Academy was extremely rigorous. He reminded Xingyu that he had not listed any backup academies and warned him that failing the exam would make him ineligible to apply to any other Beastmaster Academy. The students watching burst into laughter. Some shouted that Qinglong Academy's minimum spirit power requirement was 800, something they believed Xingyu could never achieve. Xingyu, unfazed by the taunts, acknowledged Qinian's statement and said they should proceed with the test. Qinian explained that the first test was a spirit power assessment. He instructed Xingyu to place his hand on the spirit power meter, which would measure his energy level. Xingyu complied, and the meter began displaying his spirit power. Qinian announced the initial result as 316. His tone reflecting disappointment. The crowd erupted into mocking laughter. Ji joined in, sarcastically pointing out that Xingyu thought he was special but couldn't even reach the academy's minimum requirement. Qinian, assuming the result was final, called for the next applicant, disappointed that Xingyu had shown no promise. Before he could finish, a voice in the crowd shouted in surprise, alerting everyone that Xingyu's spirit power was changing. Qinian turned back to the meter and watched as Xingyu's spirit power climbed rapidly. The meter displayed 621, then 711, and finally 802. The spectators were stunned. Someone speculated that the meter must be malfunctioning, as the numbers were unbelievable. The meter eventually stopped at 1028. Qinian stared in disbelief. He knew that spirit power determined how many beasts a Beastmaster could contract, with every 100 points representing the ability to contract one beast. A score of 1028 meant Xiao Xingyu had the potential to become a 10-star Beastmaster. The crowd, realizing the significance, murmured comparisons to past prodigies. 10-star Beastmasters were exceptionally rare in the Dragon Kingdom, with only a handful emerging in the past few decades. Qinian confirmed the score aloud, his voice carrying the weight of his amazement. The students began comparing Xingyu's score to Yi Ningxuang, a renowned genius from the previous year who had scored 1030. Ji, unwilling to accept the result, insisted that Xingyu would never pass the next test. Lina pointed at Xingyu and joined in, declaring that the beast bloodline quality test would be his undoing. Before Qinian could explain the second test, a man approached him quietly. The man whispered that the spirit power meter had a slight error and Xingyu's actual score was 1033, 2 points higher than Yi Ningxuang. Kinnian, understanding the importance of this revelation, instructed the man to keep the malfunction private and not disclose the information to the public. The man nodded and left. Kinnian turned back to Xingwu and began explaining the next test. He stated that it was a beast bloodline quality evaluation and instructed Xingyu to summon his beast. Xingyu extended his hand forward, calling for Blackfang to appear. His beast slowly emerged, stepping into the center of the field. Everyone stood in stunned silence, waiting for Xingyu's beast to emerge. Moments later, the Gale Hound appeared in the center, curled up and peacefully sleeping. The crowd erupted into disbelief, loudly questioning if it wasn't the lowest grade beast in terms of bloodline quality. Some mocked him, wondering who would still contract a Gale Hound as their beast in this day and age. Chen Kinnian slapped his forehead in frustration. While Xingyu's spirit power was extraordinary, the bloodline quality of a Beastmaster's contracted beast was just as critical. A beast with a poor bloodline would severely limit the Beastmaster's future growth. Kinnian apologized to Xingyu, explaining that he could not pass him because of his beast. Before Kinnian could officially fail him, a student shouted, drawing everyone's attention. The student pointed out that the creature before them was not an ordinary Gale Hound. The Gale Hound's white fur darkened to black, and its form shifted as it evolved into the Hellwind Wolf. The crowd gasped, shouting in astonishment that Gale Hounds were not supposed to have an evolutionary path. Kinnian quickly approached Blackfang to test its bloodline. To his amazement, it was revealed to have Hell's epic bloodline. Kinnian wondered if this was its second stage evolution, and a smile spread across his face as he realized how special Xingyu truly was. Kinnian officially announced that Xingyu had passed the exam and welcomed him to Qinglong Academy. The crowd was in disbelief. Suji, unable to process the result, decided to slip away quietly with Lina. Xingyu noticed them leaving and called out, asking where they were going and if they weren't going to say goodbye to their dad. Ji, furious, shouted back for Xingyu to stop being so cocky, adding that he was not calling him dad and questioning what Xingyu could possibly do about it. Irritated, Xingyu called Blackfang to his side. Ji was taken aback at the sight of the evolved beast. Before he could react, Blackfang forced him to his knees. Xingyu asked if Ji could speak now, and Ji, stuttering in fear, reluctantly called him dad. With a smirk, Xingyu turned away, stating that he didn't have a son like Ji and ordered him to get lost. Lina, suddenly desperate, ran up to Xingyu. She confessed that over the past 2.5 years, she had developed deep feelings for him and asked if there was a chance for them to reconcile. Xingyu walked past her without a second glance, stating that he didn't look back at the past. Lina fell to her knees, begging him for forgiveness and admitting that she had been wrong. Xingyu ignored her pleas and continued walking away. A short while later, he walked down the street with his phone in hand, eager to share the good news with his sister. He called her, ready to announce that he had been accepted into Qinglong Academy. However, before he could speak, he heard his sister's trembling voice calling his name, followed by a loud scream. His heart sank in worry. Meanwhile, on the outskirts of Qingfeng City, chaos erupted at the farmer's market as a monster horde invaded the area. People were running in panic, while a frantic mother searched for her child, desperately asking anyone nearby if they had seen her daughter. Nearby, a lady cradled a crying child in her arms, trying to reassure the child that everything would be okay. Suddenly, the poisonous tail of a monster appeared behind them. The woman looked up in horror, realizing that a massive creature was looming over them, its predatory gaze fixed on its prey. A moment later, Xingyu arrived at the farmer's market, surveying the chaos and wondering what had happened. His primary concern was finding his sister. As he searched frantically, his gaze fell upon a massive monster looming ahead. Alarmed, he rushed toward it with Blackfang by his side. His vision blurred, and blood began to drip from his eyes. He realized the strange phenomenon was happening again. Suddenly, the system interface appeared before him, displaying Blackfang's available skills. It prompted him to select one. Without hesitation, Xingyu clicked yes and ordered Blackfang to use Hellbind or Hell Howl. To his confusion, nothing happened. Blackfang stood ready but seemed to await a proper command, adding to Xingyu's frustration. The monster dislodged its tail from a stone and aimed it directly at his sister. Panic set in as he struggled to figure out what to do. Desperate, he recalled Su Ruyan and how the members of Qinglong Academy had chanted spells during their battle. Deciding to imitate them, he began to chant a spell, his voice trembling but determined. He invoked the ancient words, pledging his blood to summon spirits from the void, binding them by blood and oath. To his amazement, Blackfang underwent a rapid transformation, evolving into the Hellwind Wolf. Without wasting a moment, Xingyu commanded Blackfang to use Hell Howl. Blackfang obeyed, unleashing a devastating attack that tore the monster in half. As the dust settled, Blackfang reverted to its original Gale Hound form. Xingyu, still in shock, stuttered as he asked himself if he had truly defeated the monster and if this was the power of a Beastmaster. Snapping out of his daze, he remembered his sister. Rushing over to her, he asked if she was okay. Relieved to see her unharmed, he expressed his regret for arriving late but his gratitude that she was safe. His sister clung to him, asking how he had managed to defeat the monster. With pride, he revealed that he had been accepted into Qinglong Academy and was now a Beastmaster. At that moment, Blackfang leaped into his arms. Xingyu introduced his sister to his contracted beast, proudly referring to it as the Hellstorm Wolf, Blackfang. The people around them were stunned by the sight of the dead monster. When they asked for confirmation that he had killed it, Xingyu affirmed it proudly. A grateful mother called out to her daughter, who ran to her in tears. Xingyu and his sister then approached the monster's corpse. Spotting its core, he picked it up. It was an initial stage core with a poison attribute, capable of enhancing poison-based attacks by 5 points and increasing experience points by 10. Xingyu decided to use it, knowing that even small gains could help Blackfang evolve. Tossing the core to Blackfang, he watched as the beast caught it mid-air with ease. Turning back to the crowd, Xingyu reassured them that the danger had passed and they could relax. The people gathered around him, praising and thanking him for saving their lives. A young girl, the one his sister had saved earlier, expressed her desire to become a Beastmaster like him. Xingyu patted her head gently, encouraging her by saying he believed in her and was confident she would become an amazing Beastmaster one day. Later that night, back in his apartment, the moonlight spilled through the hole in the wall and illuminated his sleeping face. His sister entered the room quietly and stood behind him, watching in silence. After a moment, she activated a mysterious power, revealing a dragon mark etched on his back. Her expression grew tense as she left the room and headed to the kitchen. Picking up her phone, she reported to someone on the other end of the line that the dragon rune curse was still in place. She confirmed that the seal on the Dragon King's essence remained intact. Confused, she questioned how Xingyu had managed to form a beast contract despite the seal. She raised her voice in frustration, declaring that it didn't make any sense. The voice on the other end replied calmly, suggesting that it might be the work of fate. They instructed her to keep a close watch on Xingyu. She acknowledged the order and swore that she would monitor him closely. The next day, Xingyu, his sister, and the citizens of the farmer's market gathered at Qingfang City's train station to see him off. A man handed him a basket of salted duck eggs, knowing they had always been his favorite since childhood. A woman gave him a few $100, explaining that everyone had chipped in. Grateful, Xingyu accepted their gifts. When the train arrived, he waved goodbye to the crowd and told them not to see him off anymore, promising to visit them during his school breaks. Once aboard the train, he guided his sister to a seat. A few hours into their journey, the peaceful ride was interrupted by an officer's announcement. He informed passengers to prepare for possible turbulence as there had been reports of beasts along the railway ahead. Despite this warning, the train successfully passed through the dangerous section. The officer soon reassured everyone that the journey would proceed as normal. Relieved, Xingyu told his sister he was glad they had made it through safely. He noted that they were almost in Longyan City. His sister smiled and reminded him to study hard since he would soon begin school. Suddenly, the train shook violently, throwing the passengers into panic. People began shouting, wondering what was happening. Another announcement came, this time warning that a group of three-eyed giant apes had been spotted ahead. Passengers were urged to protect themselves and their belongings. The crowd was horrified, questioning how this could happen after they were supposedly past the dangerous section. Before anyone could react, a powerful force punched through the train ceiling, causing even more panic. Some passengers shouted, asking if anyone would step in to handle the situation. The apes soon broke through the roof completely, sending debris falling inside. Xingyu immediately told his sister to hide and not to come out, ignoring her protests and questions as he walked away. She yelled after him, begging him not to go, but he didn't stop. Moments later, a massive ape appeared before Xingyu, swinging its arm toward him. Startled, he froze. Before the attack could land, a strong fox intervened, slapping the ape's face with its tail and knocking it back. A voice called out, asking if he planned to just stand there. Qin Yanran, the daughter of the Sky Guild president, told him to get back if he didn't want to die. She twirled her spear and commanded her beast to attack with Thunder Flash. The three-tailed Thunder Fox obeyed instantly, leaping forward with a flash of lightning. The system interface appeared before Xingyu, identifying the beast as a three-tailed Thunder Fox of extraordinary Tier 3 level. Its bloodline was revealed as Thunder Fox, an epic quality with attributes of thunder and wind. Staring at the beast and the girl's weapon, Xingyu realized she must indeed be Qin Yanran, as he had suspected. The onlookers cheered, relieved that a Beastmaster was present to save them. Xingyu, however, doubted that they were truly safe. Another ape forced its way into the train. Xingyu shouted for everyone to evacuate, recognizing that three-eyed giant apes were social creatures. He wondered how there could only be a few. His suspicions were confirmed when 3 more apes entered, wreaking havoc. Summoning Blackfang, Xingyu told his beast they needed to assist the Beastmaster. On the other side, Yanran cursed loudly as she fought, lamenting the sheer number of beasts. 2 apes closed in on her from behind. Xingyu shouted a warning and commanded Blackfang to use Inferno Bind. Blackfang quickly trapped the apes in fiery restraints, bringing them down to the floor. Xingyu declared triumphantly that the apes had nowhere to run now. Once the apes were subdued, Yanren approached Xingyu, realizing he was also a beastmaster. She thanked him for his assistance. He brushed off the praise, saying that any beastmaster would have done the same. His attention shifted to her fox, noting its lethargy and depressed demeanor. The system diagnosed the condition as post-battle trauma and recommended a treatment. Crush anemone flower, soak it in hot water, add a thunder attribute catalyst, and mix it with the fully dissolved core of a water-type magical beast. Xingyu asked Yanren if her beast often became overly excited during battles, but showed signs of lethargy or self-harm afterward. Surprised, Yanren asked how he knew about that. He explained that her beast was suffering from post-battle trauma, claiming he had read about the condition in a Beastmaster's ailments guide. He avoided mentioning the system, knowing he couldn't reveal its existence. Yanren excitedly slapped him on the back, exclaiming that it made sense why her fox, Xia Xiao, hadn't been its usual self. She promised to follow the treatment instructions immediately and thanked him profusely. Xingyu tried to tell her to take it easy, but she pulled him closer and declared that from that moment onward, he was her little brother. Meanwhile, his sister, watching from behind, glared at them in anger. His sister grabbed him away from Yanren, declaring that he wasn't just anyone's little brother. Smiling sweetly, she hugged his arm and emphasized that he was her little brother. Yanren, visibly annoyed, pulled him back, only for his sister to pull him away again. Yanren, smirking, added that if that was the case, his sister would now also be her little sister. The two girls continued to bicker, each tugging at him repeatedly. Xingyu, caught in the middle, begged them to stop, calling them both sisters and warning that they were about to pull him apart. Later, at Qinglong Academy's central palace, the students had gathered and were lined up in neat rows. The Dean of Education, Lin Kang, stood beside the Vice Principal, Wang Bingsheng. Lin Kang welcomed the new students and instructed them to remain patient while waiting for the principal to arrive. Xingyu, standing among the crowd, reflected on how he had finally made it through after saying goodbye to Yanren. Despite a few hiccups, he had successfully enrolled at the academy. Suddenly, a loud growl filled the air and a majestic lion with purple flames appeared, capturing everyone's attention. They all recognized it as the Mount of Director Su Ruyan. She descended onto the stage with her lion, and as it gracefully stepped down, she dismounted and joined the assembly. Lin Kang asked if she could share a few words with the new students. Xingyu's eyes widened as he realized she was the same woman who had fought the Shadow Demon Dragon before. He was astonished to learn that she was the principal of Qinglong Academy. Su Ruyan congratulated the students on their acceptance but reminded them of an important principle. She stated that regardless of whether they came from influential families or humble beginnings, all students at Qinglong Academy were required to follow her rules. She specifically emphasized rule number 8, startling the crowd. Many whispered among themselves, unsure of what rule number 8 entailed. Ruyan explained that rule number 8 dictated that any conflict between students, regardless of who was right or wrong, must be resolved through a duel in the ring. Furthermore, the loser was required to apologize to the winner. Xingyu thought the rule seemed strict, but he understood its purpose. It ensured fairness, preventing influential families from abusing their power, and allowing even ordinary students to seek justice through their strength. 2 hours later, in the classroom, a student loudly called out to Xingyu, exclaiming in disbelief that they were in the same class. The man excitedly declared that Xingyu's spiritual power was almost comparable to Yi Ningxuang's, but Xingyu remained quiet. Before the disturbance could escalate, Qinian entered and ordered the man to sit down, reminding the class that it was time to begin. The student reluctantly complied, sitting next to Xingyu and whispering that he would be following him from now on. Qinian wrote his name on the blackboard and called for silence. Introducing himself as their homeroom teacher, he expressed hope that the students would gain something valuable from their time at Qinglong Academy. He then instructed them to open their Beast Companion Guide to the first chapter, where they would begin with the theory of Beast Companions. As the lesson began, Qinian explained that the strength of a Beast Companion was determined primarily by 2 factors. The first factor was the companion's evolutionary stage, which ranged from initial form, mature form, complete form, transcendent form, to Beast King form. The second factor was the beast's bloodline quality, which was ranked from poor to high. Higher quality bloodlines naturally suppressed lower ones. Additionally, a beast's attributes could create attribute suppression effects. He provided an example using the 5 element attributes metal, wood, water, fire, and earth, explaining their cycle of mutual suppression: wood over earth, earth over water, water over fire, fire over metal, and metal over wood. Beyond the basic 5, he mentioned that there were variant attributes such as sand and lightning. Hours into the lecture, Xingyu, overwhelmed by the technical details, began snoring loudly in his seat. The sound interrupted the class, prompting Qinian to grab a piece of chalk and throw it at him. The chalk struck Xingyu, jolting him awake as Qinian ordered him to stand. The teacher scolded him, remarking that he had a lot of nerve sleeping during class, and posed a question to test him. He asked Xingyu to name the weakness of the sky demon lizard, warning that if he couldn't answer, he should pack his things and leave. Xingyu confidently replied that the sky demon lizard's weakness was the venom sac located under its abdomen. Kinyan, impressed, asked another question, where ice condor crocodiles typically lived. Xingyu responded without hesitation, explaining that they were found in the Frostfall Lake region of the Southern Dragon Kingdom, and the cold pools beneath the Kunlun Glacier Falls. His classmates murmured in amazement at his detailed answers. Kinyan, intrigued, decided to test him further. He asked what Xingyu would do if he encountered a sky-rending tiger in the wild. Xingyu's reply caught everyone off guard. He said he would bite down on his ID card and find a shady spot to lie down. Confused, Kinyan asked for clarification. Xingyu explained that the sky-rending tiger was a Beast King form mutated beast, and only a level 6 or higher Beastmaster could stand a chance against it. For beginner Beastmasters, running into one meant certain death. He added that biting down on his ID card would make it easier for his family to identify his body, and finding a shady spot would prevent his corpse from decaying too quickly. The room fell silent for a moment before Kinyan shouted that Xingyu's answer deserved full marks. Curious, Kinyan asked how Xingyu knew the answers, as the questions came from later chapters. Xingyu held up 3 books and replied that he had already finished studying the entire course material. His classmates stared in disbelief, wondering how they could possibly keep up with someone who seemed like a prodigy. Kinyan dismissed the class for self-study and instructed Xingyu to follow him. Outside the classroom, Xingyu sincerely apologized for falling asleep earlier, and promised not to let it happen again. Kinyan waved off the apology, saying the issue wasn't his sleeping but the fact that he had mastered the semester's theoretical content in less than half a class. Xingyu awkwardly thanked him, attributing it to Kinyan's great teaching. Unamused, Kinyan told him to drop the flattery. Since Xingyu had already completed the theory section, it was time for him to move on to more advanced material. Kinyan handed him a library pass for Qinglong Academy, explaining that it granted free access to the library and borrowing privileges. Xingyu was stunned by the privilege, but Kinyan simply patted his shoulder and told him to move ahead since there was nothing more he could teach him for now. A short while later, Xingyu arrived at Qinglong Academy's Grand Library. He picked a book from the shelf and settled into a quiet corner to read. Hours passed as he made his way through several books. Suddenly, Wang Yan, the son of Vice Principal Wang Dingsheng, stormed into the library with a group of followers. Yan loudly declared that Qinglong Academy belonged to him and ordered everyone inside to leave. The other students, intimidated, quickly obeyed, but Xingyu remained seated. Yan turned to the women in the library, commanding them to stay and keep him company. The women, trembling in fear, begged to be let go. Xingyu, annoyed, shut his book with a thud and told them to shut up. Without hesitation, he threw the book at Yan, striking him squarely on the head. Yan, now furious, demanded to know who had dared to disrespect him. One of his minions pointed at Xingyu and shouted that he was the culprit. Xingyu, unfazed, asked if Yan was bullying girls and added that he had no shame. Yan sneered, arrogantly asking who Xingyu thought he was and whether he intended to play the hero. One of the women, concerned for Xingyu, warned him to leave, explaining that Yan was the son of Vice Principal Wang Dingsheng, someone they couldn't afford to offend. Xingyu dismissed her concern, remarking that Yan's father being the vice principal certainly explained his arrogance. Yan smirked, glad that Xingyu seemed to understand his position, and warned him to kneel and apologize if he knew what was good for him. Xingyu responded by swiftly kicking Yan's groin, breaking the 2 eggs in one move and leaving Yan writhing on the floor in agony. As Yan lay on the ground, clutching himself in pain, his minions rushed to his side, asking if he was okay. Yan managed to raise a trembling hand and glared at Xingyu with rage. Through gritted teeth, he shouted that Xingyu would regret his actions and swore that he wouldn't leave the library alive after daring to mess with him. Yan shouted at Xingyu, declaring that he would show him who truly called the shots at Qinglong Academy. Before he could continue, a calm but authoritative voice interrupted, calling Yan's tone arrogant. Su Ruyan entered the library with Kinyan by her side. Yan panicked, wondering how Ruyan had found out so quickly. Ruyan addressed Yan, stating that she hadn't realized Qinglong Academy was now under his control. Her sharp tone left Yan speechless. Ruyan told him she already understood the situation. According to Article 8 of the school rules, conflicts between students would be resolved through a duel in the ring. She ordered both of them to settle their dispute in the arena. A short time later, the Academy's arena square was packed with students rushing to watch the match between Xingyu and Yan. Many speculated about the outcome, especially since Yan's beast was known to be a legendary quality 6-clawed sky-splitting leopard. Some doubted Xingyu's chances, but one of his classmates confidently replied that Xingyu was invincible. Meanwhile, Kinyan observed the commotion from a nearby window, silently hoping Xingyu wouldn't let him down. The host announced that the match was about to begin and instructed both competitors to enter the arena. Yan approached Xingyu and, shaking his head in mock pity, told him he'd soon learn the price of going against him. Xingyu, cheerful and unfazed, replied that he was looking forward to Yan's apology. The response only further enraged Yan. The host signaled the start of the match. Yan placed his hand on the ground, summoning his beast. A magnificent ice leopard emerged, its 6 razor-sharp claws glinting under the sunlight. The students gasped in awe as the host introduced the beast, a legendary bloodline creature with dual attributes of ice and wind. As Xingyu faced the leopard, his vision blurred, and blood trickled from his eyes as the system interface activated. The system confirmed that Yan's beast was an initial stage, level 1 6-clawed sky-splitting leopard with dual attributes of ice and wind. Xingyu was momentarily shocked by its dual attribute nature but quickly calmed himself, deciding it was time to take the stage. Raising his hand, Xingyu summoned Black Fang. His beast appeared with a commanding presence, drawing gasps of astonishment from the audience. Xingyu's classmates marveled at Black Fang's intimidating aura and commented that, in terms of looks alone, the ice leopard had already lost. In the VIP seating area, Ruyan studied Black Fang with curiosity. She noted that it resembled an evolved version of the Galehound but was puzzled, knowing the Galehound had always been considered a useless beast with no evolutionary path. She wondered how Xingyu had managed to achieve such a transformation. Yan, unimpressed, laughed loudly and accused Xingyu of trying to draw attention. He confidently ordered his ice leopard to attack with ice crack-rending claw. In response, Xingyu commanded Black Fang to use serpentine movement. Black Fang skillfully evaded the sharp ice claws aimed at it, darting away with incredible agility. However, the ice leopard moved faster than expected and struck Black Fang's side, leaving deep claw marks that made the beast cry out in pain. Black Fang trembled as it struggled with the injury. Observing the match, Kinyan realized that Black Fang was a wind and fire dual attribute beast, while the ice leopard's attributes were ice and wind. This attribute matchup placed Black Fang at a natural disadvantage, as ice suppressed fire. The ice leopard swung its claws again, aiming for a decisive blow. Black Fang narrowly dodged the attack, but Yan shouted that he wouldn't let Xingyu escape. He commanded the ice leopard to unleash its heaven skill. The ice leopard roared, summoning a massive ice storm that encased Black Fang in an icy prison. The audience gasped, many believing that Black Fang was trapped and helpless. However, what neither Yan nor the spectators realized was that Black Fang was still able to move within the icy confines. Yan laughed mockingly and declared that it wouldn't be long before Black Fang froze to death inside the ice prison. The audience, including Ruyan, Kinyan, and Xingyu's classmates, watched with bated breath, wondering how Xingyu would respond. Xingyu, calm and composed, asked Yan if he was so sure. He then called out to Black Fang and ordered it to use Rift Fang. Night Stalker. A dark shadow spread beneath Black Fang, and the beast vanished instantly. The unexpected move left the audience in shock. Ruyan and Kinyan immediately recognized it as a dark attribute skill, prompting murmurs among the spectators as they speculated whether the Hellgale Wolf actually had a third attribute. Yan looked around frantically, trying to locate Black Fang, unaware of the summoning circle forming beneath him. Suddenly, Black Fang emerged behind Yan and launched a claw attack. The audience gasped, realizing that Black Fang had transformed into a shadow to escape the ice, rendering the trap useless. However, before the attack could connect, the ice leopard appeared just in time to block the strike and push Black Fang away. Black Fang quickly retreated to Xingyu's side. Xingyu, unfazed, told Yan that it was time to show him their true strength. He commanded Black Fang to use Silent Claw. Black Fang charged forward, but before it could reach the ice leopard, it disappeared into a shadow form, reappearing at lightning speed to slash the ice leopard with its claws. Yan shouted at his ice leopard to counterattack, calling it a fool and demanding it fight back. However, Ruyan recognized the effects of Silent Claw, a dark attribute skill that inflicted a 3-second silence on its target, rendering it unable to use skills. Xingyu seized the opportunity, instructing Black Fang to end the battle with Hell Howl. Black Fang gathered power in its jaws, releasing a devastating howl that struck the ice leopard head-on. The attack left the legendary beast severely injured, collapsing onto the stage. The audience erupted in astonishment as the host raised Xingyu's hand, officially declaring him the victor. His classmates cheered loudly, proud of his performance. Yan dropped to his knees, unable to believe what had happened. Xingyu approached him, calmly stating that he had lost. At that moment, Ruyan stepped onto the stage, reminding Yan of the school rules. She sternly instructed him to apologize as required. Yan, intimidated by her serious demeanor, reluctantly bowed to Xingyu and apologized. Humiliated, Yan walked away, fuming internally and vowing to make Xingyu pay someday. Ruyan, now addressing Xingyu, praised his performance and noted that he was the second student to catch her eye. She expressed her anticipation for his participation in the freshman ranking competition, which was scheduled for 3 days later. Xingyu shyly thanked her for the compliment and asked who the first student to catch her attention was. Ruyan revealed it was Yi Xuangning, a young genius with a spiritual power level exceeding 1000. Xingyu wasn't surprised, it was her again. He recalled hearing about Yi Xuangning during the entrance exams and how she had left an impression on everyone. Before leaving, Ruyan commended him for his talent and handed him a spatial ring as a reward for his victory. Xingyu was stunned. He knew spatial rings were invaluable tools for beast masters. These advanced storage devices could hold anything, including food, supplements, and monster beast cores from battles, all while being highly portable. Xingyu humbly accepted the spatial ring and expressed his gratitude. After class, he left the academy, thinking that his sister was probably waiting for him at home. Deciding to hurry, he walked briskly through the streets. Suddenly, a small child appeared out of nowhere and stumbled into him. Concerned, he knelt down and asked if she was all right. The girl stuttered that she was fine. He gently patted her head and told her to be more careful and to head home safely. As he turned to leave, the girl clung to his leg and tearfully shouted that she had nowhere to go. She begged him to take her in. A short while later, Xingyu returned to the family dormitory with the child in tow. His sister, Ryuxu, angrily confronted him, shouting that it was only her first day in Longyan City and he was already kidnapping children. Sporting a fresh bump on his head, Xingyu denied the accusation and pleaded with her to let him explain. Ryuxu pointed at the child and asked what there was to explain when the evidence was standing right there. Once she had calmed down, Xingyu explained that the child, Shiming, had a fear of beasts, making her unfit to become a beastmaster. Her family had mistreated her, and she had run away from home. Xingyu had brought her back to help her overcome her fear. Shiming agreed tearfully and begged Ryuxu to let her stay, saying she didn't want to return to her family. Seeing Shiming cry, Ryuxu relented and allowed her to stay. However, she sternly reminded Xingyu to avoid choosing women from the Yi family, leaving him puzzled. The next day at Qinglong Academy, the students gathered on the field for attack testing. Xingyu stood in line, still wondering about Ryuxu's cryptic warning about the Yi family. His classmate, Wuxingyu, appeared behind him, asking what he was mumbling about and mentioning the Yi family. Wuxingyu then informed him that Kinyan had said today's lesson was about battlefield positioning and asked him to explain what it was. Apologizing for being distracted, Xingyu clarified that battlefield positioning referred to the teamwork-focused roles beastmasters assume in battles. He explained the 5 primary roles. Shooters were beasts capable of long-range attacks, dealing damage from a distance. Mages specialized in large-scale control skills, ideal for group combat. Tanks had strong defense and healing abilities, acting as shields for the team. Assassins were agile beasts with high mobility, designed to eliminate low-health enemies. Lastly, supports were beasts with buff skills, enhancing the team's combat capabilities. Wuxingyu nodded in understanding and asked which position might suit his storm butterfly. Before Xingyu could reply, Kinyan shouted at Wuxingyu to stop talking during class. Wuxingyu sheepishly agreed and quieted down. Kinyan explained that each student would summon their beasts in ID order to undergo evaluation. The test would determine their battlefield positioning. When Songhu summoned his beast, Kinyan identified it as a tank due to its powerful defensive capabilities. Wuxingyu's Storm Butterfly, on the other hand, excelled at wide-area water attacks, making it a mage. When it was Xingyu's turn, Kinyan told him the first test would measure attack power. Xingyu confidently activated his summoning circle and summoned Black Fang. He commanded it to attack the test device using Hell Howl. The ground shook as Black Fang unleashed its power, and the device registered a triple critical hit with a damage score of 6,371. The audience was stunned, as most initial beasts struggled to manage even 1,500 damage. Kinyan was astonished, knowing that special attack damage for initial beasts typically ranged between 500 and 1,500. He couldn't believe that the Hellgale Wolf had landed a triple critical hit exceeding 2,000. Xingyu, eager to proceed, asked if he now fit the assassin role. However, Kinyan, intrigued by Black Fang's potential, insisted on continuing the tests. In the second stage, the range test, Xingyu ordered Black Fang to use Hellfire. The attack reached an impressive distance, prompting Wuxingyu to suggest that Xingyu might fit the shooter role. The third test was defense. Black Fang successfully defended itself, with Wuxingyu shouting in amazement that even Kinyan's Ice Armor Turtle, a beast known for its extraordinary defense, couldn't break through Black Fang's resistance. The fourth test, Control, saw Black Fang using Hellbind. The beast's strong chains impressed Wuxingyu, who suggested Xingyu might even suit the mage role. Finally, in the buff test, Kinyan analyzed Black Fang's data. The results revealed that any allied beast within 10 meters of Black Fang received a 30% combat boost, along with a 10% increase in both attack and movement speed. The students were stunned by the results, and Wuxingyu managed to ask Kinyan which battlefield position would suit Xingyu best. Given Black Fang's versatility, Kinyan declared that there was a special position for him. Xingyu, he explained, fit the role of an all-rounder. The students were puzzled about the all-rounder title. Wuxingyu, curious, asked Kinyan for an explanation. Kinyan explained that when a Beastmaster's beasts excel in all battlefield positions, the Beastmaster earns the rare title of all-rounder. He added that Xingyu was clearly the only all-rounder in their class so far. Hearing this, Xingyu felt a surge of pride, though he remained modest. His classmates surrounded him in excitement, with Wuxingyu enthusiastically asking how he had become so skilled. Xingyu, feeling shy, brushed off the attention, saying it wasn't anything special. Kinyan calmed the students and reminded them not to get too excited. He clarified that while the title was rare, it was not unheard of. Freshman data was not fully collected yet, but Xingyu stood out for now. He mentioned other notable all-rounders in the academy, including Yi Xuanning and Han Tianjun from the second year, as well as Murong Qingyang and Lai Xuancheng from the third year. He encouraged the class to keep working hard, emphasizing that they all had potential to improve. After class, Xingyu walked along the street, planning to buy nutrient boosters for Black Fang in preparation for the upcoming freshman ranking competition. As he approached a shop, a group of men blocked his path. One of them stepped forward and asked where he thought he was going. Xingyu frowned and asked who they were, but the man ignored his question and taunted him, suggesting that anyone who didn't know the Black Tiger Guild must be asking for trouble. Yan impatiently asked the leader, who was referred to as President Lei, why they were wasting time talking to Xingyu. Yan suggested breaking one of Xingyu's legs to teach him a lesson, which Lei hesitantly agreed to do. Lei confronted Xingyu, accusing him of causing trouble for their young master, Wang, and telling him that his luck had run out. Xingyu noticed that the group consisted of 3-star and 4-star Beastmasters. He questioned whether it wasn't excessive for them to gang up on a 1-star Beastmaster like himself. Yan, laughing, declared that they were bullying him precisely because they could, and mockingly asked what he planned to do about it. Lei activated his power and announced that he would handle Xingyu himself. Summoning his powerful Thunder Tiger, Lei commanded it to attack. Without hesitation, Xingyu summoned Black Fang, who appeared near Lei and quickly clamped its jaws around the tiger's neck, dragging it to the ground. Lei, frustrated, turned to Yan, blaming him for not warning him that Xingyu's beast would be so strong. He expressed disbelief that a mature stage beast could match his extraordinary stage Thunder Tiger as he watched the clash, their strength appearing evenly matched. Regaining his composure, Lei sneered and suggested testing whether Xingyu, as a 1-star rookie, was tougher than the Black Tiger Guild. At his signal, the other guild members summoned their tiger beasts, which lined up, growling and preparing to attack. Before they could strike, a commanding voice interrupted them, challenging the Black Tiger Guild to test its strength against the Celestial Guild, which was still superior. Xingyu was relieved to see Qin Yanren arriving just in time. Lei and his members froze in fear as they realized they were surrounded. Lei knew that the Celestial Guild was the second-ranked Beastmaster Guild in Longyan City, and even the top-ranked Hurricane Guild would think twice before clashing with them. With a forced smile, Lei respectfully inquired what had brought Yanren there. Yanren approached Xingyu, putting her arm around him as she explained that if she hadn't happened to pass by, she wouldn't have known Lei was planning to trouble her dear brother. Lei, shocked, hesitated before asking if she wasn't the only daughter of President Qin and when she had gained a brother. Yanren calmly replied that Xingyu was her sworn brother, recognized by her, and warned that anyone who bullied him would be opposing her directly. Lei was left speechless, visibly shaken. To make her stance clear, Yanren gestured toward her group, who summoned their powerful beasts, a silent but effective display of strength. She added that anyone daring to harm her brother would also be going against the Celestial Guild. Lei, now sweating, stammered that it was all a misunderstanding. He pointed at Yan and, in a desperate attempt to save himself, shouted that it was all Yan's doing. He claimed Yan had hired them to cause trouble for Xingyu. Yan, panicked and trembling, raised his hands, stuttering as he tried to explain that it was not his intention to target Xingyu. Yanren, unimpressed, coldly cut him off, instructing Lei to handle the situation. Lei quickly nodded and, without hesitation, turned on Yan. Lei loudly berated Yan for daring to bully Xingyu and ordered his men to teach Yan a lesson. The group obeyed, kicking Yan repeatedly as he wailed and shouted that it was his plan and asked why they were turning on him. Later, at the Celestial Guild headquarters, Yanren asked Xingyu how he had managed to cross paths with those people. Xingyu sighed, explaining that he had only been out to buy nutrient boosters for Black Fang, and everything had gone downhill from there. Yanren scolded him lightly, telling him that if he needed nutrient boosters, he should have just asked her since the Celestial Guild supplied those. She added that if he needed supplements, he should let her know, as they would always be free for him. Xingyu, surprised by her generosity, admitted he didn't realize she was so willing to help. He added that he hadn't fully understood her status as the only daughter of the Celestial Guild president. As they walked, Yanren gestured to the surrounding facilities, explaining that the building served as the Celestial Guild's training center. It was equipped with state-of-the-art equipment to enhance Beastmaster skills. She pointed out the recreation area, designed for relaxation after missions, which included amenities like a golf course and saunas. She then directed his attention to the conference room at the top, where major missions were planned and detailed strategies were devised. Yanren led him to the medical wing next, highlighting its advanced technology, a vast collection of medicinal herbs, and a team of highly skilled Beastmaster doctors who provided cutting-edge care for injured beasts. Xingyu was impressed and asked if he could join the Celestial Guild as a Beastmaster doctor. Before Yanren could respond, a sharp voice interrupted. Liu Yu, the Celestial Guild's vice president, entered the room, questioning who Xingyu was and how he had gained access. She dismissed his idea of becoming a guild doctor, stating that it was laughable for someone of his age and experience to even consider it. Yanren called Yu her aunt and explained that Xingyu was the one she had told her about, the person who had helped her subdue the three-eyed giant ape on the train. She also mentioned that he was her sworn brother. Their conversation was interrupted when a guild member rushed into the room in a panic. He reported that several severely injured beasts had been brought to the medical wing, and they were short on staff to treat them. He anxiously asked Yu what they should do. Yu instructed him to contact reinforcements from other branches and told Yanren to request assistance from other guilds. The man, however, explained that there wasn't enough time, as the beasts were losing too much blood and would not last much longer. Xingyu, seeing the urgency, volunteered to help. He firmly told Yu that time was of the essence and that he would handle the situation himself. A minute later, the injured beast was rushed into the hospital inside the Celestial Guild. The doctor on duty urgently directed the staff to operating table 3, identifying the patient as a green-eyed savage mastiff that was bleeding heavily. He shouted for backup blood bags as the mastiff's owner rushed to its side, pleading with the doctor to save his beast. The staff attempted to stop the bleeding using a hemostatic clamp, but it proved ineffective. Panicking, they prepared medicine, but even that failed to stem the blood loss. Conventional methods were useless. Xingyu approached the mastiff and used his system to analyze the situation. The system identified the beast as a transcendent tier, stage 3 creature with 95 loyalty and an elite bloodline. Its vital signs showed severe trauma caused by the golden needle venomous bee king, which resulted in puncture-like wounds. The analysis revealed that the injuries were covered in glowing green mucus, the bee's unique toxin that prevented the wounds from healing. Xingyu calmly explained to the group that the glowing green mucus was the golden needle venomous bee king's venom, which made the wounds nearly impossible to heal. Turning to the Beastmaster, he said he knew a way to stop the bleeding but asked if the owner trusted him. Desperate, the Beastmaster said he had no choice but to trust Xingyu and begged him to save the mastiff. Xingyu quickly instructed the doctors to prepare a remedy. They were to grind 1 stalk of heavenly spirit grass with purple iris flower to create 20 grams of medicinal liquid, then add a magic core from a poison attribute transcendent tier beast, and simmer the mixture for 5 minutes. One of the doctors hesitated, questioning if the mixture's toxic ingredients would worsen the wound. Xingyu firmly responded that they needed to follow his recipe immediately, as any further delay would miss the critical window to treat the mastiff, ensuring its death. The mastiff's owner, growing frantic, shouted at the doctors to stop hesitating and prepare the medicine. The doctors obeyed, and 5 minutes later, one returned with the prepared medicinal liquid. Xingyu donned gloves, took a small amount of the liquid, and applied it directly to the mastiff's wounds. The mastiff howled in pain, but moments later, the bleeding stopped, and the wound began to heal. The Beastmaster, overcome with emotion, cried as he comforted the mastiff, assuring it that everything would be fine. Meanwhile, Xingyu approached Yu and asked if his performance was satisfactory. Yu admitted that he had exceeded her expectations and acknowledged that she had been wrong to doubt him. Reaching out her hand, she formally invited him to join the Celestial Guild as a specially appointed alchemist. Xingyu shook her hand and humbly accepted the honor. Later that evening, Xingyu returned to his family apartment. Ruixu, holding the Celestial Guild contract, questioned him. She asked if his late return was because he had been signing a contract to become a specially appointed alchemist. Xingyu simply nodded in agreement. Ruixu turned away and, in a low voice, remarked that it seemed like he had found himself a new sister and forgotten about his real one. Xingyu quickly denied this, insisting that it wasn't true. Taming, curious, asked what a specially appointed alchemist was and if it was something they could eat. Laughing, Xingyu explained that as a specially appointed alchemist for the Celestial Guild, he would receive a salary. He promised that with his first paycheck, he would treat them to a grand feast that weekend. Taming cheered excitedly, shouting that they couldn't wait for the feast. Meanwhile, in Wang Yan's room, Yan lay severely beaten, seething with anger. He screamed that he would never forgive Xingyu. His shouting was interrupted when Dingsheng entered the room, addressing Yan as a useless failure. Yan, on the verge of tears, pleaded with his father to stand up for him. Dingsheng, unimpressed, reprimanded Yan, pointing out that he had disgraced not only himself but the entire Wang family by losing to someone from a backwater city. Yan wiped his tears and defensively explained that Xingyu was bonded with a beast possessing 3 different attributes and had the backing of the Celestial Guild, making it nearly impossible to regain his honor. Dingsheng, after a moment of thought, acknowledged that the Celestial Guild was indeed a powerful organization the Wang family could not afford to provoke. However, he added with a chilling smile that if Xingyu were to suffer an unfortunate accident during the Yin Nanshan trial, perhaps at the claws of a magical beast, it would have nothing to do with them. A day later, at Yinnan Mountain, Dingsheng addressed the gathered students, announcing that the trial for all freshmen was officially beginning. He explained that the event would be broadcast live online for the entire network to see. Dingsheng elaborated on the rules, explaining that the wristbands each student wore would monitor their magical beast kills and combat footage in real time. He outlined the rating system. Killing 1 to 10 magical beasts would earn a C rating, 11 to 30 would earn a B rating, 31 to 50 would earn an A rating, 51 to 80 would earn an S rating, and killing more than 80 magical beasts would result in an S+ rating. Before the trial commenced, Ruyan asked Dingsheng if he could announce that year's all-rounders. Dingsheng obliged, declaring that based on their evaluation tests, 3 freshmen had earned the title of all-rounder: Murong Yangshuo from Class 1, the eldest son of the Murong family, Murong Xingxin from Class 1, the second daughter of the Murong family, and Xiao Xingyu from Class 3. Hearing this, Xingyu thought about the Murong family and recalled that in the Dragon Nation, the 4 great beast-taming clans were the Yi, Lai, Murong, and Shanguan families. He wondered if the Murong family mentioned here was indeed one of these renowned clans. Meanwhile, at the Qinglong Academy broadcast station, Ruyan, Dingsheng, Qinyan, and Yangzhu, the host and commentator for the trial, were gathered. Yangzhu greeted the livestream viewers, introducing himself as their guide for the event. Ruyan, curious, asked Dingsheng how many magical beasts he thought Xingyu would manage to kill. Dingsheng replied that Xingyu might kill 50 beasts at most, already a generous estimate in his opinion. Qinyan disagreed, confidently stating that with Xingyu's talent, he would take down at least 80 beasts. Ruyan laughed, suggesting that both might be wrong, and said she believed Xingyu would break Yi Ningxuang's record and create a miracle. As they debated, Yangzhu announced that the freshmen were entering the venue in an orderly manner and declared the trial officially begun. As the trial progressed, Yangzhu kept the audience updated. Less than half an hour into the event, he reported that Class 2 Seconds Wan Lin had successfully killed a short-tailed bear, and that the class had surpassed 10 magical beasts in total. He then congratulated Class 5 Seconds Sun Tianhao, who had killed over 20 magical beasts. However, the truly impressive feat came from Class 1 Second Murong Yangshuo, who had already killed 43 magical beasts within the trial's first hour. Yangzhu informed viewers that Yangshuo's beast, the White Mist Griffin, was the only superpower-type beast in the trial. Its spatial penetration ability allowed it to instantly close gaps with magical beasts, and its attacks pierced through them effortlessly. He added that even beasts with exceptional regenerative abilities, such as the Silver Fang Snake, were utterly countered by the White Mist Griffin, meeting grisly ends. Yangshuo, speaking to his beast, Xiaobai, instructed it to stop tormenting its prey and extract the magic core. With this kill, Yangshuo's rank jumped to second place, pushing Xingyu to third, while Xingxin held first place. The broadcast shifted focus to Murong Xingxin. Yangzhu explained that Xingxin's beast, the Bone Wing Bat, possessed a legendary bloodline and was the only undead-type beast in the trial. At that moment, Xingxin was facing a formidable opponent, the Bloodthirsty Wild Lion, a Stage 2 initial tier magical beast with an epic bloodline. Known for its 5-fold critical strike power, the lion was an incredibly strong adversary. Yet, against the Bone Wing Bat, Yangzhu predicted that it would meet its end. He added that if Xingxin succeeded in killing the lion, her kill count would reach 51, solidifying her lead. Yangshuo, confident his sister would secure first place, checked the leaderboard. To his shock, someone else had overtaken her. A minute earlier, on the cliff where Xingxin faced the bloodthirsty wild lion, she had ordered her Bone Wing Bat to attack, confident that another kill was hers. However, she was startled when she heard Xingyu issue a command to Black Fang. Before she could react, Black Fang leaped into action, slashing the lion's head with its claws in a single, powerful strike. Xingyu thanked Xingchen for delivering him the kill. She wanted to curse him but stayed silent, glaring in frustration. Meanwhile, Zhu excitedly informed the viewers of the dramatic twist, calling Xingyu seriously sneaky. He teased Xingchen, saying that no matter how much she guarded her position, she couldn't anticipate Xingyu's underhanded tactics. Zhu then announced that Xingyu had stolen Mirong Xingchen's kill and taken first place. Suddenly, a three-eyed demon ant appeared on the battlefield. Zhu described the fierce rivalry between Xingyu and Xingchen, even palpable through the screen, and asked the audience who would claim victory over the formidable beast. Xingyu commanded Black Fang to use Hellbind, trapping the ant and immobilizing it. Zhu explained to the viewers that the Hellwind Wolf's Hellfire dealt true damage, ignoring armor, making it a deadly advantage. Xingyu followed up by ordering Black Fang to finish the fight with Hell Roar. Before Black Fang could land the final blow, Xingchen intervened. She ordered her Bone Wing Bat to interrupt the strike with its Sonic Blade ability. The distraction allowed her to unleash Bone Spirit Frost Fire, which successfully killed the three-eyed demon ant. As the beast released its core, Xingchen walked forward, picked it up, and glared at Xingyu in silence. Xingyu shrugged and told her he hadn't expected her to be so vengeful. Zhu, thrilled by the turn of events, told the viewers that the trial was becoming even more exciting. He declared that Xingyu and Xingchen were now tied for first place and asked who would emerge victorious with less than an hour left in the trial. He urged viewers to stay tuned for the thrilling conclusion. Minutes later, Xingyu spotted a beast in the river and urged Black Fang to pursue it. Just as they approached, someone killed the beast before them. Zhu announced that Xingchen had targeted Xingyu again, stealing yet another kill. Over the past half hour, Zhu remarked, Xingchen had secured her lead by relentlessly following Xingyu and snatching his kills. Xingyu admitted to her that stealing kills was wrong and asked if she planned to keep hounding him. She remained silent, glaring at him with anger. Zhu added commentary, asking the audience if Xingchen would extend her lead further or if Xingyu could stage a comeback. Viewers noted in the chat that Xingchen's talent seemed to surpass even her brother Yangshuo's, with her daring moves matching Xingyu's step for step. Determined, Xingyu told Xingchen that he wouldn't hold back anymore and warned her to be prepared. Zhu questioned whether Xingyu had been holding back his full power all along and speculated if he could reclaim first place in the remaining 30 minutes. The rivalry continued as Xingyu pursued another beast nearby, with Xingchen close behind to steal his kills. Zhu narrated the tense moments as both competitors broke records with their escalating kill counts. Xingyu managed to secure 2 kills in quick succession, keeping Xingchen at bay. When they chased a flying beast, Xingchen doubted that Xingyu could challenge her dominance in the skies. To her shock, he successfully killed the airborne beast. Furious, she called him a sly fox, but Xingyu merely smiled and told her that with less than 30 seconds left, her chances of overtaking him were gone. He declared that barring any surprises, first place was his. Xingchen, still fuming, kept calling him a sly fox. Xingyu, exasperated, asked if that was all she could say. Their banter came to an abrupt halt as a beast emerged from behind a large stone nearby. Both paused in surprise as Zhu's panicked voice echoed through the broadcast, questioning why a fully evolved Tier 3 beast was present in the trial. The massive beast charged straight at Xingyu. He quickly leaped onto Black Fang's back, ready to face it head-on. As the beast roared and lunged, the ground beneath them gave way, sending Xingyu and Black Fang plummeting off a cliff. Xingyu cried out in alarm as they fell. Xingchen, watching in shock, called his name in worry and rushed to the cliff's edge. She spotted him hanging precariously onto a branch, with Black Fang gripping tightly to his legs. Xingchen's Bone Wing Bat immediately engaged the Tier 3 beast to buy time, while Xingchen leaned over the edge, extending her hand and urging Xingyu to grab it. As Xingyu prepared to reach for her hand, his gaze shifted downward and caught sight of Wang Yan, hiding in the bushes below and watching the chaos unfold. Before Xingyu could process the situation, the branch he was clinging to snapped. Xingchen screamed his name as he and Black Fang fell. At the broadcast station, Kinyan angrily stood up, declaring that he was going to save his student. Ruyan tried to calm him down, reminding him that Xingyu and Xingchen were her students too, and as principal, she wouldn't let anything happen to them. Both rushed toward the field, with Kinyan vowing to have security initiate the emergency rescue procedure immediately. Meanwhile, Dingsheng smirked as they left, thinking to himself that his small trick had ensured Xingyu's descent into hell. At the bottom of Yin Nan Shan Cliff, Xingyu slowly opened his eyes and groaned, questioning if he was still alive. The memory of Wang Yan's devilish smile as he watched him fall from the cliff flashed in his mind. Sitting up, Xingyu cursed Yan, swearing that he wouldn't let him off this time. His heart sank as he remembered Black Fang and panicked, searching for his beast. He found Black Fang lying on the ground, severely injured. Realizing that Black Fang must have used its body as a cushion to save him, Xingyu asked the wolf worriedly if that was the case. Black Fang released a soft sound in response, confirming it. Xingyu immediately pulled out an elixir, carefully administering it to Black Fang. He reassured his companion that the nutritional supplement would ease the pain. As the rain began pouring, Xingyu noticed the sudden downpour and decided to unsummon Black Fang to protect it from the elements. Promising to find shelter, he set off into the wilderness. Not long after, he discovered a cave and quickly entered. Glancing outside, he wondered when the rain would stop and thought about his sister, knowing she must be worried. His mind wandered to Xingxin, remembering her attempt to help him during the trial. He wondered how she was faring. Suddenly, a snapping branch from behind startled him. He turned sharply, only for a hand to clamp tightly around his neck. A woman's voice shouted that she would kill him for seeing her face. Gasping for air, Xingyu used his system to scan her. It revealed her identity, a Ninetales with a Beast King rank 1, a mythical bloodline, and terrifying abilities. Her talents included Disaster Eye, which could petrify any enemy of a lower rank, and Ninetales Flame, capable of burning an enemy's soul and inflicting mind-based attacks. Her attributes were Beast, Psychic, and Fire, with hidden evolution routes leading to a 10-tailed fox, and ultimately a 10-tailed dragon. Xingyu realized she was not just a beast-type Ninetales but a terrifyingly powerful one. The woman tightened her grip, declaring that she couldn't let him live. Xingyu coughed in pain but managed to shout for her to wait. Desperately, he told her she was injured by a purebred dragon and would die within half an hour. Her eyes widened in surprise as she demanded to know how he knew this. Before he could answer, she suddenly winced in pain, clutching her chest. Seizing the opportunity, Xingyu raised his Beastmaster mark, releasing a bright light that momentarily blinded her. The woman instinctively covered her eyes with both hands, loosening her grip on his neck. Gasping for breath, Xingyu regained his composure and told her confidently that he knew who she was. He added that it wasn't hard to deduce her condition, given her identity as a Ninetales. The system confirmed his analysis: she was severely injured, her life ebbing away. The scan detailed that a purebred dragon's power had entered her body, damaging her heart veins and causing her cayenne blood to flow backward. Xingyu's mind raced. Although he didn't understand why a purebred dragon, believed extinct for 300 years, had appeared, he knew his priority was calming her down. He boldly declared that he could save her. Skeptical, she questioned how a mere one-star tamer could hope to heal her when even the most skilled Beastmaster doctors among humans would find it nearly impossible. Xingyu assured her that it wasn't difficult for him, but there was one condition: she had to sign a blood contract with him. He reasoned that while he could save her, he couldn't risk being killed by her afterward.